welcome everyone. We're so thankful that you've joined us today and look forward to sharing a lot of important information in this webinar. We'll continue to offer forums to support approved vendors, designees, other stakeholders in the market. And as we continue to make progress and enhance the program, we hope to continue addressing stakeholder questions and more. To start off, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Tamara Perry, Director of Solar and Storage Programs here at Energy Solutions. Let me again say how thrilled I am to be working on this program and with all of you. And we're also very thankful to have Audrey Steinbach from the Illinois Power Agency speaking again today. So a couple of housekeeping items. Everyone is going to be muted during the presentation. If you have any questions you'd like to ask during the webinar, please use the Q&A box that should be at the bottom of your screen. It'll be the most helpful for addressing as many questions as quickly as possible. And make sure to use that Q&A button rather than the chat box. So our main goal today is to outline new resources, updated program requirements, to provide updates on the program portal, and to share information on how to access, support, and engage with the program team. And as I mentioned, we'll leave time at the end to address questions that come in through that Q&A line. So this is a little bit of a summary from the last couple of webinars, but Energy Solutions is the and next slide, please, is the new program administrator, and we have the chance to interact with many of you already. We have built and are continuing to grow a strong overall program team and are increasingly adding support activities and other proactive efforts to support your success and the success of this program. I'll just pause for a minute so you can read through sort of all of the support we intend to provide. Okay, next slide. So in our role, Energy Solutions is responsible for administering the program, including kind of summarized here, operational, technical, strategic, and reporting functionality. Some key roles and activities are summarized here, including transition activities such as reestablishing and enhancing the program web portal, providing application processing, consumer protection, operations, and support functions, as well as some new exciting areas around the sector strategy initiatives, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. We're also enhancing resources, materials, and communications available to stakeholders. We're also very excited and will continue to provide information as we roll out the full functionality of our program team. I'm going to pass it on now to Audrey Steinbach from the IPA, as well as her team, to cover some of the new resources and requirements that have been recently introduced into the program. So thanks, Audrey, for participating today.
Thanks, Tamara, for the overview. I just wanted to walk everyone through a high-level overview of the new documents for the program that have been released in the past couple of weeks. There has been a ton flying around. So first, the final 2022 long-term plan was filed with the Illinois Commerce Commission on August 23rd. There is a ton of information in that document, including information regarding new project categories, new equity requirements, and new consumer protection requirements. So I just wanted to highlight the particularly relevant chapters for the adjustable block program within that plan are chapters 7, 9, and 10. So chapter 7 outlines the adjustable block program in a lot of detail. Chapter 9 is a chapter dedicated to consumer protection efforts that cover both of the solar programs that the IPA runs, including the adjustable block program. And chapter 10 covers diversity, equity, and inclusion, which includes more detail around equity requirements for program participants. Next slide, please. So additionally, earlier this week, we released a new program guidebook. So the high-level changes are noted here on the slide, including details around community-driven and community solar selection criteria and more information on equity eligible contractors or EECs and the minimum equity standard compliance plans. I do want to note that finalized traditional community solar scoring requirements and finalized information on the 2022 REC delivery contracts are not included in this version of the guidebook, as those two items are still currently pending. We expect final REC contracts to be posted today, and for traditional community solar scoring to be finalized through a written stakeholder feedback request that will be released before this week is out. So there's a ton of changes in this guidebook, but those two pieces are not yet incorporated and will be incorporated prior to November 1st. Next slide. So I also wanted to highlight that final block sizes for the 2022-23 program year were not included in the final long-term plan, but were published this week in the program guidebook. So that's where to look for that information. You'll see in the first table on the left side of the screen, the reallocation amounts from the previous program year. And then on the right-hand side in that table, you will see the final block sizes for each group and category for the upcoming 2022-23 program year that incorporates that uncontracted capacity that is reallocated for this new program year. So the details and the math around that really are outlined in detail in the guidebook. So look there for the math, but the final block sizes are in that table on the right-hand side of the slide there. Next slide, please. So with the approval of the IPA's long-term plan by the Illinois Commerce Commission, we also now have several updated consumer protection documents for the program that I wanted to highlight. We now have a consumer protection handbook, which replaces the distributed generation and community solar marketing guidelines. We also have two updated contract requirement documents, one for DG and one for community solar. As you can see on the slide, these documents are linked on the right for ease of access once we publish this PowerPoint, and all program participants must be in compliance with these documents as of August 28th, which was previously announced via weekly announcements. Additionally, the IPA is planning to expand its consumer protection working group to ensure that we're getting a lot of diverse feedback on consumer protection requirements and that we really have a representative group of stakeholders to inform decisions around our consumer protection work. So this is just getting going, and you can read more about that in the slide and stay tuned for more information on that. Next slide, please. So next, I want to go through a few items that were established by CEJA last fall, but are worth repeating here. Yep. CEJA requires that all projects that are developed for the Adjustable Block Program comply with the Prevailing Wage Act. So in order to provide a one-stop shop for information on prevailing wage, we developed a page on the program website called the Prevailing Wage Hub, where approved vendors and their designees can go to find more information on these requirements. And it has a ton of great information both on the exception to these requirements and different links over to the Illinois Department of Labor's website where prevailing wage rates are posted. Next slide, please. So additionally, CEJA established the Equity Accountability System. This system provides requirements for program participants as it relates to equity standards that are outlined in the law. The program administrator and the IPA are working on several different resources to help orient program participants to these new requirements. And we expect to have these resources together and to hold informational webinars on these requirements this fall. So please stay tuned for those. Next slide, please. Finally, next slide again, thanks. Finally, we have new rec prices for the new program year. Those were published on August 1st and are outlined in the updated program guidebook as well. So the model for these prices was released on August 1st. If you're looking for a stagnant table of these rec prices, that can be located in the program guidebook. We will also have finalized rec contracts for the program released today, and those will be found on the rec contracts page on the program website, which is linked there in the slide as well. The next two slides just act as a resource for updated rec prices, so we can just spend a few seconds on each slide for folks to see those prices. But again, these are in the program guidebook as well. Okay, thanks so much. I'm going to turn it back over to Energy Solutions.
Great, thank you. Perfect. So now we're going to talk about the portal updates. If you go to the next slide, please. So tomorrow morning, we'll be entering the next wave of functionality for the program with the ability for AVs to submit Part 1 applications as well as program enrollment for new entities. As I noted in the Q&A, the portal will be unavailable tonight after 5 p.m. Central while this update is being pushed, and will come back online tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Central. After a project has been submitted, AVs will be able to view a workbench with their submitted applications. The vendor workbench will also allow AVs to edit in progress applications with the ability to save and resume an application. And then for the next release that will be in about a week, you will be allowed to edit legacy applications from the prior portal, which will also be visible in this vendor workbench that you'll see tomorrow morning. For new approved vendors, applicants will be able to submit a new AV registration form through a Microsoft form link. This can be found in several locations on the program website, illinoisavp.com. And after you've submitted that form, our operations team will review your application, request any additional information, and then we'll provide secure credentials and access to the program portal. For the September 1 release, the web portal will also enable CSV disclosure form functionality for community solar projects. The SharePoint solution will also remain available for the time being, because that some people have been utilizing. And CSV functionality for DG projects is expected to be released in the next week or so. And we'll send out all announcements on this updated functionality as they become available. In September, we'll also enable new designee registration and project batching in the portal. To support ICC submission, the PA team also has a rebatching process that's already available. We will be notifying AVs a day before projects open for rebatching. And if you have any questions on this or any of these processes, please feel free to reach out to the admin email address. Energy Solutions intends to release new portal functionality incrementally every 2 weeks. Release notes will be made available on the portal login screen for tracking and reference, so you can always go back there if you need to see what is available or what is coming in the future. Okay. Go to the next slide, please, or next 2 slides. Now I'm going to talk about support and how to access support from the program team. So the program team has made several areas of support available for approved vendors through a variety of specialists and channels. For more specialized support or questions, you can reach out to one of our sector strategists. You can attend a drop-in office hours or attend a working group session, or always you can email the program administrator, and some of those links have been provided on this slide. I'm going to talk a little bit more now about the sector strategy team's focus and goals. I know we've talked about this a little bit previously. So the PA team sector strategy team goals and focus are to provide best practices, technical support, and build relationships with the market to solicit feedback that can help inform our own program policies. So there's a summary here. It's really meant just to be for reference, but it's things like helping to provide clarity on the guidebook, providing specific training and training materials, providing a clear path for communication and feedback. We will provide ongoing support and touch points throughout the program lifecycle, and then have that touch point with both the consumer protection and DEI teams. Okay, next slide, please. Just a little bit more information. Each approved vendor will be assigned to a sector strategist, which will help to act as the AV's main point of contact for any program questions or needs. The sector strategy team will also provide proactive program updates, simplified process guides, and training relevant to your sector to support your team with resources. The strategist will act as a subject matter expert for application requirements and help provide the need to know for projects that you're submitting in that category. And let's see, our team, the intent is to create clear pathways of communication and really empower approved vendors to optimize their participation in the program. We have been surveying existing AVs, and new AVs will receive an online form asking you to self-designate as your primary sector that will guide your strategist assignment. And look out for direct emails on this in more detail. Okay, I think this is our last slide. So during our communications with AVs as well as office hours, we've noticed that there have been certain frequent questions that have been summarized below. We'll continue to update even more FAQs on our website. I just wanted to leave it up here for reference. We're also noticing that many emails people are submitting several emails or calling in and emailing with the same question. This is causing some delay in response time. So just want to have a reminder that submitting a request once is the most efficient way to receive a timely response. And with that, I think that closes out our presentation. I am going to move over to the Q&A section. And is there anything, Audrey, that you've been seeing that you want to call out while I look back at this?
Yeah, I see that there's a question that was asked about an estimated time the portal will open tomorrow morning, and that time is 9 a.m. Central.
Okay. There's a question about, and I think Keely, you're here, about the ability to register new designees or new nested designees into our account. You can email the admin email to get those entities registered. I don't know, Keely, if there's anything else you want to add there. And you might be muted.
Yeah, I was. Thanks, Tamara.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. So we are currently accepting registrations for new designees. It's just happening through a manual process. So we have a form that you can email us in at the admin@illinoisabp.com email, and we'll send you a copy of the form, and you just need to fill it out and specify which approved vendor you would like to become a designee of, as well as, just some general information, what designee role you would like to have. And then the form needs to get signed and returned to us via the approved vendor to provide that confirmation of the new designee relationship. So that process has been happening and has been available since July 1. But soon, in the next couple of weeks, by mid-September, we'll be able to provide portal access to any new designees to begin generating disclosure forms.
Great, thank you. Getting some questions about sort of IT login information. I think if you can add into the Q&A more specific information about your name or your login information, we can follow, or your contact information, we can follow up with you on troubleshooting that issue. Let's see. Answered this question.
Tamara, I think I see another one I could answer about,
Sure.
It looks like it's about subscriber management.
Yeah, oh great, thank you.
So we will be restoring subscriber management in the portal. However, at this time, we're offering that via a manual process on SharePoint. So if you are, we set up workbooks for all of our approved vendors to manage subscribers and see that total subscription level, and those should be all available now. So if you're not seeing that you have that, just reach out to us and we can work with you to get it set up or get you access to that.
Okay. Let's see. Another login question. There's a question around the Part 1 application. Does the Part 1 application request any additional materials that the prior application did not require? Keely or Anu, you can confirm this, but it is the same application. Sorry, Keely.
Oh, no, I was going to confirm that, yeah, that is correct.
Okay, I know there was a question on ACH or wire transfer payment details. I think we can follow up directly with you and give you information on how to pay the application fee, so we can do that. Someone had a question about a flow chart for the process. I think that's a really good suggestion that we can work on providing.
Tamara, if you don't mind me jumping in, I see another
Yeah,
question. So completed, you will need to have a completed disclosure form to start a Part 1 application for a distributed generation project, just like in the legacy portal. So you cannot submit an application without a completed disclosure form.
Okay, and then I know there's one or two questions here about availability of the API functionality. I know we're working on that currently, and so I can follow up and provide an additional update. I know we do want to provide testing as well prior to making that functionality live.
And Tamara, Anu should have ability to speak now. I've unmuted her, so I wanted to make you aware.
I'm here.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I heard you say the API, is it the API for the rec estimate, the PV watts API?
No, the disclosure forms API.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we do the CS the API is not available, but the ability to upload it via CSV files for community solar will be available tomorrow.
Let's see. I think there's a couple of questions about some vendor specific questions. We can follow up directly. Let's see. There's a question about the available block recs. We will be sending out this presentation. I don't know, Mike, if you want to go back to that slide, but we'll be sending out this presentation so you can have it as a reference.
Just got a question on new rec contracts. They are not in this presentation. They will be posted at some point today. The link to the page where they will be posted is in the presentation and can be found on the program website under resources. And then you travel over to rec contract, and those have all of our rec contracts posted there.
Anu, there's a question about Part 1 applications that were in progress before the portal closed. Do you want to address that one?
Yeah. We, as of tomorrow, we will not have those applications that were done in the legacy system available in the new portal, whether they were submitted or in progress. But in one of the subsequent releases later this month, we will be pulling in all of the legacy applications into the new portal and allow the ability to edit it and submit it in the new portal.
And Anu, can you confirm if more than one person can log into the portal at one time using the same login, or is it limited to one?
No, you can have more than one person log in. I think initially when the portal launched, there was some confusion because the password had to be reset, which is why when we had multiple people trying to reset the password, it was getting reset over each other, but now they should be able to.
Hi, this is Sarah. Tamara or Casey, maybe someone asked if we could go over the EEC piece again.
Sarah, was there a specific question? Or just that they wanted to see the slide?
Just a question in the chat just to go over it again, yeah.
Yeah, so I can take a stab at that. So equity eligible contractors is a new distinction under the program that was established by CEJA that has a very specific definition. And there are, I believe, a couple different ways to qualify as an equity eligible contractor. So the equity accountability system is kind of a larger umbrella that focuses on diversity and equity requirements. Then within that, we have the equity eligible contractor category of the program, which is a specific block of capacity that is set aside just for those that qualify to be equity eligible contractors. And then we also have this new concept of minimum equity standards, and all approved vendors and designees are required to comply with these standards, and approved vendors will be required to submit compliance plans on how they plan to meet these minimum equity standards starting in the next program year. So we wanted to highlight this to give folks a heads up that we're going to start talking about this, and this is going to be a requirement for next program year. But we are going to be getting into more detail on all of these items and how they interact, because they are new, through an informational webinar this fall, and we'll be creating some helpful documents to help break down some of these concepts. Hopefully that helps.
Audrey, there's a few questions about SREC trade. I don't know if you want to take a stab at addressing it first, or we can also chat about that and take that offline.
Yeah, this is kind of a specific thing that designees of SREC trade need specific details and next steps on. So Rachel, I don't know if you wanted to jump in here, because I know you've been working on that more closely.
Yeah, we've had a number of, the IPA and the program administrator have been working closely with SREC Trade on sort of next steps for their designees and for customers who have disclosure forms that are filled out listing SREC Trade as the approved vendor. So we've been, I believe Energy Solutions has reached out to the designees, and SREC Trade has also passed along information about next steps to the designees. So if there are designees who have not gotten that information, please do reach out and make sure that you're sort of on the list for getting that those information on next steps. I don't know that it makes sense to sort of go through all the details of that on the call, but if you, and I know there's some questions that are coming in that are anonymous. So if we see who you are, we can follow up with you. But if you're sending in a question as anonymous, we don't know who you are, so we can't sort of follow up with you affirmatively. So if you are one of the designees that previously was working with SREC Trade and have questions about how to become an approved vendor yourself or how to find a new approved vendor, please do reach out and we can work with you on that.
Great, thank you. Let's see, Healy or Cindy, is there any that you see that you can jump in on? Let's see, I'm sorry. I
think to address the payment and batching questions, I think when that initial batching becomes available, the payment information and more information about that process will be released at that time.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if you have batches that have been submitted already, or I guess I should say that were submitted in the legacy portal and would like to pay any application fees for those batches, you can reach out to us and we can get you some information to pay those fees.
There's a question about a demo of the Part 1 small DG application. I think we can definitely do that if we're going to announce the next set of office hours, or if you want to reach out to us directly for a demo. I can't, again, this is an anonymous question, but we can provide that information. I'm seeing a few other questions about logins. Please, if you could email us directly with specific information on your issue, that would be great.
Tamara, just a quick note while you're reviewing that, we do have office hours tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. And then in this morning's announcement, we've announced additional hours next week on Tuesday morning from 11 a.m. to noon Central Time. And then again on Thursday afternoon from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. And links for those Zooms are in this morning's announcement, and we'll reshare those.
And there's a question about the HelloSign signature line in the disclosure form. Looks like it may not be lining up correctly with where it needs to sign. So we can look into that and see if we can get that updated.
Audrey, there's a question about the leniency period. I don't know if you want to address that from Jillian Hansen.
Yeah, let me try and find that. There was an update, a clarification update on the leniency period that went out this morning. So let me try and find this one.
Yeah, was there a specific question about this or just like a request to talk through it?
I think it was just if they could clarify. I lost it. 1 second.
I found
Yeah,
it.
that
Yep.
maybe just summarizing the new leniency.
It's at the question's asking about the announcement this morning about the additional clarification for community solar subscribers. So the long and the short of it is that the leniency period is still in effect, and that disclosure forms for community solar subscribers will not be required for subscribers that sign contracts during this leniency period. Once the leniency period is over, then subscribers will need to sign a disclosure form prior to their subscription contracts. And Rachel, I don't know if you want to add more color to that.
Yeah, I think that's right. The important sort of action that's tied to that leniency period is the signing of the subscription contract. So if the customer has signed their subscription contract after the beginning of the leniency period start, which I believe was June 30th, and sometime before we end the leniency period, which at this point we have not announced that, so it's still ongoing. So any customers who are currently signing subscription contracts will fall within that leniency period, and then those limited exceptions to the requirements will apply even in future invoicing periods, as long as that original contract with the customer had been signed during the leniency period. So I'm not sure if that answers the question or if there is anything follow-up. We may at some point require the approved vendor designee to submit a copy of the customer's contract so that we can verify that it was signed during this leniency period, especially as we look at sort of further out invoicing periods, where we would expect most of the customers who are assigned to projects during those invoicing periods to not be within this exception. We may want to confirm customers that are assigned without a disclosure form to make sure that their contracts actually were signed during this leniency period. And then once the leniency period has closed, we're going to give an announcement that the portal is functioning as intended. There'll be a 2-week sort of buffer period for everyone to get back in the swing of things. And then after that 2-week sort of buffer period, the requirements of having a disclosure form signed before the contract will go back into full effect. And any customer who's signed that contract outside of the leniency period will need a disclosure form to be associated with them before they can be assigned to a community solar project.
And there's a question from Brady. How do we register for CSG to be our new broker? In order to become a designee under them, you could send a request to admin@illinoisabp.com and request a designee registration form. You'll complete that form, and then CSG would need to submit that form back to us as their verification that they approve.
I'm getting some anonymous comments about the office hours. So it is an open Zoom link that anyone can join. We are right now having teams wait in the waiting room for their answer to get addressed. Someone made a suggestion to have a calendar sign up. I think that's a really good idea as well. So we'll work on that suggestion. So thank you. It was another anonymous response. For those of you that joined late, this webinar has been recorded, so we will send out a recording. Let's see. I think this is probably best answered by Rachel from Quentin. Can clients execute the disclosure form at the same time as the sale contract using a third-party signature service?
Yeah, so it sounds like this is maybe a two-part question. The general rule outside this leniency period is that the disclosure form needs to be signed prior to the contract. It can be part of the same sort of conversation, but it just has to be, the disclosure form is signed first so that the customer has that standardized information about what the agreement is, and can review that in a standardized format, potentially compare it to other disclosure forms for other offers, and then sign the contract. During this leniency period, that piece is not being enforced. In terms of using a third-party signature service, Audrey, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we allow third-party commercially available signature services, not individual company. An individual company cannot use their own sort of in-house electronic signature platform.
That's correct.
Okay.
Anu, do you know if there's a question about will a confirmation email be sent when an application is submitted? Do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, not at this time.
But you will be able to see it in the dashboard.
That's
Or
correct.
the
Yeah.
workbench, I'm sorry. Okay. Audrey, anything else that you're seeing that you want to address at this time? We will be posting these Q&A along with this recording, and we'll make sure to address any that we missed.
I'm not seeing any right now that would benefit from a group discussion. I think a lot of these are more kind of personal questions. I know there was just a question I just typed an answer to about what to expect in the Part 1 application. That's outlined in Section 5 of the program guidebook. So you can look there for more info. And if you have heard me say it a few times, the program guidebook is a really good resource for questions. Of course, we always want to make sure we're here to answer your questions, but a lot of times the really detailed answer is found in that program guidebook, so that'll be a helpful resource for folks to utilize.
Okay. Great. If there was just a last question, do we need to re-email questions if they weren't answered here? You do not. We'll post Q&A responses to all of these questions, and just wanted to close out by thanking you so much for your time today, and reach out to us at any time if you have any other additional questions. So thank you. Take care.